Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Doctor Who Season 10, Episode 2. It's called Smile. Full spoilers for the episode. I like how you smiled there right after I said that.
Did why not?
Yeah, so this was a very typical sort of Doctor Who episode, and I think that was a good idea
I
because
agree.
I feel like after you introduce a new companion and you have their introductory episode, it's a good idea to give them a very typical Doctor Who like adventure.
I agree. I think it works to show you just this is what they're like on a week to week basis. This is what you can
Mm.
expect with an average episode with this companion, and that's smart.
Yeah, I think that works, and it also makes her feel like she's. Because I think it would feel really weird to throw into a really unique Doctor Who plot when she's never had the regular experience. Because it'd feel like she's not a veteran enough to go through a weird plot. It's like no, give her a typical. They show up to a place in a time, people need help, and they help.
Teach her who the Doctor is.
Yeah. So no, but it was a fun episode. It was they go to the future in this planet in the edge of the universe, and it's like an Earth colony. There, the people haven't seemingly haven't arrived yet. Obviously, we see a scene before they get there, so we know that some people were there, but that's how they perceive
Yeah.
it. And it's like a colony sort of outpost. The last people, at least of one batch of people from Earth, and we've got these robots that have smiley faces on them, but their facial expressions change, and they seem to kill people if you stop smiling.
Yes.
If you start to be sad, they will kill you with their flying nanobots that they have flying around. They look like a swarm of bees almost. The way
Pretty much.
they go around. Which reminded me of an episode of Black Mirror, of all things. But no, so it was pretty fun. It was a lot of them walking around this pretty cool looking like sort of city where it's all really smooth and white and everything's very
Yeah, it was a nice
stylized.
design. Like you say, sterile is kind of the key word, I think, given
Yeah,
that
sterile.
that these robots, if you get sad, that's it. So it's a very sterile environment in that sense as well.
Very sterile. They got the like their food's just cubes of like protein and vitamins and
Yeah.
whatever. Like there's no actual food, even though apparently it tastes like fish, smells like
Yes.
fish. That's okay. But no, I think for me that this, I think the actual plot was fine. I thought the robots were kind of creepy in a
Yeah.
smelly kind of way, so that was kind of fun. For me, what made the episode though was the banter between the characters. It was Bill and the Doctor. Sort of still learning to know each other and still finding out who each other are. Like Bill finding out he has two hearts and stuff like that. That he
Yeah,
stole
it's
the
a classic,
TARDIS.
classic moments
Yeah,
that you
just
get with any new companion. They're always fun.
all these things, but the way she questions things and the fact that she does keep questioning other things, like so she has to put him into, pardon the pun, a box because she has to like, all right, so you're like a policeman, you go around, and he's like, no, I'm not like that, but she's constantly questioning and trying to like figure out exactly how to define him, and he's dodging it at every possible chance.
Yeah.
So that's kind of thing. It's a fun jokes, and yes, there was a Scottish joke because she asked why he's Scottish.
It's I think that's meant to be a throwback to Eccleston's first episode, where Rose asks him, "Are you from the north? You sound like you're from the north." And he's like, lots of planets have a north."
Yeah. Um,
That's kind of what it felt like to me with the way she said it.
I mean, for some reason, in my head, the way I justify, not that they needed a reason for him to use, obviously his accent changes with every time he
Yeah,
regenerates. There's usually a slightly different accent. I think the way I justified it in my head is that because he had Amy the last time he was a doctor,
he picked it up off her.
yeah, I feel like whatever he does or interacts with in his time when he regenerates, like parts of that will seep into
Yeah,
the new thing. So that was how in my head I justified him having it, because they never had David Tennant have his Scottish accent. They made him change it up and do an English one, and maybe Capaldi just couldn't do it, but that could be the reason.
yeah. I don't think I've ever heard him do a non-Scottish accent off the top of my head.
Nah, I can't think of one. And I've seen him in a few things. He was in Paddington, didn't have one in that.
Obviously, I don't think he had one when he was in Torchwood, which is kind of similar, but admittedly, but he definitely doesn't have one in Thick of It.
Yeah, I don't think he had one in World War Z.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, but everyone always brings that one up because he's credited as Doctor Number 12 in the credits, and it was before he
Yeah,
get
yeah, yeah, I
cast.
remember.
Uh, But yeah, so it's kind of a fun banter. It's like, because the first half, I'd say a good half of the episode is them walking around an empty building and
Yeah, pretty much.
just debating what's going on, why are we here, what's blah 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 blah.
The Doctor theorizing, as the Doctor
Yeah.
is wont to do.
Yeah, and he gets it wrong, of course, and because he thinks that everyone's not there yet, but it turns out they're all in cryo sleep. They're all there, ready to get up, and it all leads to him having to negotiate because essentially these robots have misinterpreted and have seen like unhappiness as a threat, so that's why they're killing people that don't have it. But they also discover that they're a new emergent life form. They've basically become self-aware.
Yeah, this is when the episode rose an extra level for me. Like, I was enjoying it. Don't get me wrong; it was very typical Who. But when it got to this point where it was like, oh, this is they're sentient, and you've got the slaves rebelling against the masters. You've got them bringing with the
Yeah.
guns.
That's it. That's it. For me, that's a very like. As soon as he said, "Oh, you made these robots your slaves," and like most enslaved people, they start having their own ideas. For me, that is maybe not. I don't know if it's been brought up in Who before. It probably has, but it's for me that is a very old school sci-fi theme.
It is.
It's Battlestar Galactica. It's Terminator to an extent. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, the idea that you have robots, you make them slaves. Because you think, oh, they're not humans. They can't be enslaved because they're. But then there's that point where they're smart enough to where they become self-aware. And as soon as they become self-aware, and they have feelings, they have whatever. Then it is, and so they rise up
Yeah.
against. So it's a very typical thing. I think one thing that sometimes brings me out of Who episodes, especially like this one a little bit, is when like, the people in the future get up and it feels like they're just from modern day Earth. Like nothing about them. Like it feels like they're just in regular clothes. It feels like
Yeah, I think it worked a little bit more for this one for me because the whole point was they just evacuated of this disaster. They clearly weren't the best species at the time anyway. If they caused this massive extinction level event to Earth,
oh sure, yeah.
so it kind of worked for me.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. It's one of these things where I just feel like, okay, this guy feels like he's just off the street in present day. There's nothing about him that
Yeah.
feels
Yeah,
like he's from a
that's
different
fair.
time period or anything like that. It's just a minor complaint though. All the other stuff, especially, do you know what I liked? I liked it when the Doctor, they find like the ship at the core of all this, like the actual like refugee ship that came out here. And they see this map, and the Doctor makes Bill like stay there. You're going to stay here and talk to me and walk me through where I'm going. And as soon as he said that, I went, she's got a phone. Take a photo, because you see her earlier on in the episode taking a photo or something on her phone.
Yeah.
She's taking a selfie, and and I was like, why didn't you just take a photo? You don't need to do this. And I got that he was in it for that reason, but why is she not thinking of this? This is so
I
obvious.
think, to be fair, she's kind of caught up in the whole moment of it.
Oh, sure. But that's what I'm saying, though. I'm glad that they actually brought it up, and she does, oh, wait a minute, I can do this. Like, she
Yeah.
thinks of it, like, 5 minutes later. And that was good. It was the writers, at least, maybe not being ahead of me, but at least
on
knowing
your
what I'm
level.
thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least knowing what I'm thinking, and that's good. It's smarter writing if they do that.
Yeah.
But so that was a thing, and it's almost like a big part of the last episode was that she smiles a lot. Like Bill smiles when she doesn't know something, and it was almost like this episode was trying to perverse that because it was like everything's all smiles, but it's actually really horrific what's
It's
happening.
quite sinister, yeah.
And when she finds that body and she sees the history of like all this disaster happening, and that's when she properly gets upset. Yeah, actually, it hits you a little bit more with her because she is such a happy person that when she is upset, it's like, oh god, oh I feel bad.
Also, I love the idea is that the grief as a plague and how quickly it spread throughout everyone there.
From the perspective of the robots, yeah.
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 Yeah, I love that idea. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. We have to kill them so it doesn't spread, but they don't understand that killing someone is what spreads it.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of this self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. And the magic haddock, as we kept hearing about throughout the episode.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You mentioned him being the negotiator, and I think that's something that I've noticed. That's kind of his defining trait as a doctor. Most doctors have a trait that's what you identify with them first and foremost, above anything else that they do. But for Capaldi, especially from the back half of last season, I think it was, maybe a bit before that, where he's really grown into this role as a negotiator. It's come up quite a few times since then, where he sits down and goes, no, we're going to talk about this and we're going to solve it. And again, it wasn't a big thing here, but it came up again still. It's just there. And I feel like that's going to maybe play a big part as we go forward.
He turned it off and on again.
He did turn it off and on again, but then he negotiated after that.
Hi, and then the little smelly face turned into money eyes. They want to live
Yeah,
here, they're going to pay up.
it's pretty good.
What does a robot even need money for anyway?
Just because they can.
Unless they want payment in some other like obviously like the money eyes is just a representation.
Maybe they want the humans to create art. You don't know.
Maybe. Or they want them to they want them to dance for their amusement. Go on.
Exactly.
Dance, humans.
Exactly.
Puny humans. Yeah, maybe.
I think that was kind of the point of the scene. That you don't know what they want, but that's why you sit down and negotiate. What do you want? What is this relationship going to be? And I think that's why Capaldi does that.
I don't know. I think he's gotten a lot better. I remember watching the 8th season and thinking, I don't know if he's working for me yet. There's something really off. And
Honestly, I think what that was is they were using leftover Matt Smith scripts for a lot of those episodes.
possibly because it wasn't until like maybe during season 9 where it felt like he really became his own version, and he had a defined kind
I
of.
think it was quite late in 8. I think it was maybe like episode 10. Was the one in the forest?
Yes.
That was straight up a Matt Smith episode. I'm 100% convinced they just changed a few names. And that's it.
I could see it. And it helps in that case as well because it was still Clara who was also the companion beforehand, so you don't even have to worry about changing the companion's like name or dialogue. Like she's the same. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm convinced a good handful of episodes. The Robin Hood one.
Oh god.
Near the start.
I like how you're naming all the ones I don't like.
No, that's the thing. I don't think they're bad episodes. I think they're bad episodes for Capaldi's Doctor.
Maybe.
Which is.
I don't know. I feel like there's a certain type of episode where I usually groan when I see it's coming.
Okay.
You know, there's a certain type. Typically, whenever they go to that kind of time period, like Robin Hood, I'm like, oh god, I can just.
Yeah, but Capaldi did sneak in, giving a middle finger in that one.
Okay, I'll give you points. So this one ends. They go back. They think they went back to the same spot because the Doctor has made a vow not to. By the way, I laughed a lot when he turned around to Bella. He's like, right, because she's like, you need to clear this up for me. He's like, yeah, I owe you that. I owe you. I'll explain what's going on. So a thing happened, and I did a thing because of a thing, and because of that thing, I made a promise, and because of that promise, I need to stay and guard the vault.
Yes,
God,
very
that
clear.
up. Yeah, it really made me laugh how he did that. But he's not meant to leave, so they go back to the exact same point where they left, up in his office. But they open the door, and oh no, it's snowing, and the Thames is frozen up, and
Yeah, it's
there's an
Victorian
elephant.
London
Yeah.
with an elephant.
Well, it's not. Like, I mean, sure, it's Victorian. Not. See, I thought it was more like until the next time kind of cleared it up a little bit. I thought it was some weird like reality had broken and things were all because an elephant is not indicative of
No,
Victorian
it's not.
London.
This is not how you tell me it's Victorian.
No,
London.
it's not. And Frozen Lake, River either is not really how you tell. I mean, sure, it's time of year or whatever, but like,
Yeah.
I thought they'd went back and it was like a frozen apocalypse and there's an elephant crossing. It wasn't until the next time I'm like, oh, it's just.
I really hope they address why they opened with an elephant. Because, I mean, I get, sure, it's a striking visual image, but it didn't tell us enough about what it was. And it was like, okay, tell me why an elephant is here. Why did you choose that?
Here's a question. So we're getting to the past now on Earth. How long do you think it is before we get an episode that deals with like a gay character in the past that Bella who will want to help, can relate to?
I don't know how much we will get that, because obviously we've had black characters in the past as well, before, going back to Martha. No, I don't recall it ever being addressed at all.
I suppose.
I feel like it would be a missed opportunity if they didn't.
Yeah, and also the fact that I've been watching other time travel shows like Legends of Tomorrow and Timeless, which have constantly dealt with it, and I've made it a point of saying this is something that we have to address, this is something we have to deal with. It would be really weird if they don't, I think.
I agree, but this is the thing. They have done this in the past where there's been plenty of opportunities where they could have addressed, these issues.
But, to be fair, though, I mean, that Martha season was 7 years ago. Well, more than that, really, because there was breaks as well.
Times have changed.
Yeah, I mean, it's season 10, but this is 12 years since the first one.
First one was 2005, so that would have been, 2008?
Yeah, so it's been nine years.
Yeah.
So they might tackle it this time. I kind of hope they do. I hope that at least just one time in the season do something like
I
that.
agree. I do hope they do. I'm not convinced they will
Because
either.
I think the Doctor reacting to it and the way he interprets it and might be an interesting thing to explore. Like, how does he tackle this kind of like bigotry or what? Well, it depends how you tackle it. It depends what it is, but like
Yeah,
I'm assuming either someone like maybe Bill will be attracted to someone in the past, and the person will always be attracted back to them, but it's like, well, I'm going to leave, and then they're going to be stuck here in this time period where they're
yeah,
going to have to hide who they are for their whole life because it's Victoria. Say it's the Victorian London episode. It's Victorian London. It's going to be a long time before anyone even
yeah. No, you're
is.
right, and I think it's something that if they're smart, they will address.
Yeah.
And they will have an episode because you don't need to do this every episode because
Oh
obviously
no,
a lot
no.
of them are in the future, other planets where this clearly isn't an issue because we've moved past that.
Eh,
But
not even every episode in the past. It's just I think it'd be good for one to tackle a little bit of that plot and give
I
us
agree.
something. Because it impressed me last episode how they started talking about her being gay really quickly and they addressed it multiple times. She was flirting with someone. Like they really did some stuff with it. So I'd hope they go just the one more step further and actually
Yeah,
explore the plot
and
a little bit.
also on that note, it feels very real because in this episode there wasn't anyone there for her to be attracted to. So it's not like she's bringing it up constantly.
Oh
It's
sure,
not like
yeah.
the writers are going, "Hey, remember this," because they don't need to. This is part of her character, but it's not her only character.
Oh, sure. Yeah, this episode it was because I think more defining of her right now is the fact that she's so like
Optimistic.
optimistic, and she asks questions, and she's so curious about everything around her. Like she
Yeah,
really she's a lot of characteristics. She's a fully formed character. She's a fully formed person. But I think not exploring or like not her homosexuality because she's clearly quite comfortable
yeah,
with herself. But I mean exploring something to do with that in the past in a time or a place where, or maybe in true Doctor Who fashion, true science fiction fashion, if you want to get away from the reality of it a little bit, you don't do it in the past on Earth. You do it on an alien planet where there's issues between an alien race that have some,
yeah,
are a metaphor for it, and she'll
yeah.
relate to it through that or something like that. Like I could see them doing something.
Yeah, we've had that a little bit in Doctor Who with some cross-species relationships.
Yeah, that kind of thing. All right, okay. Yeah, I thought it was a fun episode. I liked I thought it had a good look to it, good style. Robots were creepy, and the character banter was pretty good.
Yeah, I really like the line where it was like, "Oh, why aren't they running after us? They can't run." And it's like, "Yeah, but if they can't run, why don't they need to?"
Yeah.
It's quite a good ominous line.
Yeah, I like that. So there you go, that's a Smile. Let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. Helps us out a lot. Get us on Twitter, mailed_fuzz for channel updates. Individual Twitters are on the screen for everyday ramblings. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Have we got any vanilla?